look, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I've done this intro far too many times at this point, so I'm just going to say what I think, and that is this. I think with the changes that Legend Story Studios, the creators of Flesh and Blood, are making to the game of Flesh and Blood, to its major tentpole formats, and to playability, collectability, and affordability, 2026 is going to be a make or break year for the game of Flesh and Blood. It is not ever been more apparent that the coming year is going to decide how this game continues going forward. The trajectory of this game will be set by how the changes that are being made by LSS are accepted by the community and the overall TCG space. And so we need to dive into what they're changing and why it's so important. But to understand what they're changing, you need to understand Flesh and Blood in 2019. There's not a lot of people left in the game right now that have been around since 2019, and I am one of those people, so I can tell you my experience back then and how it has shaped, I think, what LSS is doing and why they're doing it. So in 2019, Legend Story Studios released Flesh and Blood, a trading card game that touted itself as the new classic trading card game. And they tried to hit that metric in a lot of different ways. They wanted a game that is, relentlessly playable, that can be played and enjoyed at, a variety of levels, but also can be enjoyed in a competitive space, in a competitive sphere, through an organized play system. They also tried to, maintain tight print runs, so it maintained your overall investment in the game. So there was an investment angle, like my cards are worth something even after XYZ has happened. My cards can still be traded or sold so that I can invest in the game in a different way. So they attacked it from an investment standpoint. Obviously, they had collector's policies with reprints and never kind of exceeding a certain type of reprint, never reprinting cold foils the same way again, so that you can have some, assurances that this card is going to be the card that you're looking for and looking out for the long term. So they've had collectability standpoints. They've had, competitive staple tent poles. They've really tried to attack in 2019 all of these different directions that you could point to and say that's a classic trading card game. That was their goal. They kind of stretched their tendrils in all directions. Their main point, their main tent pole, though, was always the organized play of the game, because a trading card game is meant to be played in the Flesh and Blood. And fast forward through all of the ups and the downs and the monarchs and the tales of the world and the uprisings saving it into Fab 2.0, and the stories could go. I could tell you all the stories. If you want to hear that, leave a comment down below. I'd be happy to share my experience from the very beginning of Flesh and Blood. But we've gotten to this point over the past year or two where the stark reality is this: the game is perhaps the most playable, most confident game that you can jump into when it comes to an organized play system. There's nothing better on the market, nothing better that does organized play than Flesh and Blood. It is the standard bearer. It is the flag bearer for how you execute an organized play system, and they keep pouring money into it, which means you can keep investing into that side of the game. But there are fundamental flaws right now, and those are the things that I think LSS is trying to address, and these are them. The affordability of playing a competitive deck in the competitive formats that are on offer is too high. It's hard to get in the game because you recognize that, and there's not an easy entry point for that. And so Legend Story Studios has undertaken this big change, this big restructuring in 2026. And it was all sort of put on display at the World Championship. And it starts with their organized play system. And that's where we're going to start right here with the announcement just before Worlds began of the removal of Battle Hardened. So they're tweaking a couple of things. First, they're tweaking the onboarding and the understanding of their linchpin thing that they do better than everyone else, which is the organized play system. And over the past year or so, Battle Hardens have become this wide-ranging thing, this one-day tournament that you can compete in that happens at the regional level, but it doesn't really deliver a ton of overall value outside of whoever wins it. So Battle Hardens, which were just kind of all over the place, you could go to just a bunch of different locations. You could travel around to do them, but oftentimes they would just end up in like your backyard. These battle-hardened events that oftentimes accompanied a calling are now going away. And instead of having, World Championship, Pro Tour, Calling, Battle-hardened, Pro Quest, Road to Nationals, instead of having all of these events, Legend Story Studios in 2026 is streamlining the process. They are removing Battle Hardens. They are putting it in favor of something called a showdown. And they are full committing to these showdowns being, and let me see if I can find exactly where it says so I can highlight it for dramatic effect. I'll just do this. Silver Age. There it is. 2026. Silver Age format for all of these final day tournaments. They are tweaking that, and they are increasing the prize pool payouts for all of the top 4 now, which is big because like gold foil. Now do keep in mind it is going to be gold foil Blossom of Spring, which is great in this new format. Gold foil all Blade Beckoner equipments and PTIs being passed down. Either way, you're also getting prize money for the top 4 players as well, alongside of the prize money for 9th through 16th. So there's far more incentive to play in these showdowns versus Battle Hardens of old. So they are allowing, or they're not allowing, what's the best way to put it? They are reinvigorating the Sunday tournament that accompanies a calling. And they are also upping the number of callings. Callings are these 2-day long tournaments are becoming the standard for where you go travel to and like what you do. They're doing more callings. They're putting them more around. They're reinvesting into their tournament structure. And in 2026, there's going to be more opportunities to play in callings all around the world. And alongside of those, there's going to be more incentive to stay on Sundays if you're not in day 2 of the calling in order to play in one of these new showdowns. And those showdowns are going to be in Silver Age. And this brings us to the second point. They have completely streamlined the formats that they're focusing on. A while ago, like maybe 6 months ago, you had Classic Constructed, you had Blitz, you had Commoner, you had Living Legend. Those were all these different formats, but were all of them fully and equally supported? In no way, shape, or form. No, not at all. No. Classic Constructed has always been, from 2019, I remember reading this myself when Blitz came out. Classic Constructed, when they announced the Blitz format, was always going to be the darling format. It was always the tentpole format for the game of Flesh and Blood. It was everything that they designed around. And then, of course, Blitz was incredibly important for actually saving the game of Flesh and Blood in 2020 when the pandemic hit and everyone, went indoors. People played Blitz on webcams. Like, that was a thing we did. I taught people how to play Flesh and Blood via webcam on Google Meets. I can tell you stories of that. But Blitz became a really important thing. And yet, when they posted about it, they said that Classic Constructed was the thing. When UPF, Ultimate Pit Fight, became a thing, it was just considered a casual multiplayer format. It wasn't something they were going to lean into. And then when Living Legend was announced, it was announced as this very cool, eternal format, play the heroes that you know and love and miss. But it was never going to supersede Classic Constructed. And there were moments where I thought it would. There were certainly moments where I thought it would. Because, of course, down the line, you think, there's going to be so many heroes in this Living Legend format, then maybe this just becomes the, go-to format, like the modern of, Flesh and Blood. And yet, they're making a change here in 2026, and I think this is the right move. With the introduction of the new Silver Age format, a common and rare budget format where decks are literally still $20. With that inclusion, and with the streamlining away from Battle Hardens to a unique product in Showdown that is, supporting one. I say unique. I don't mean unique. I should have used a different word. A unilateral is perhaps the better word. But I'm running on small sleep and 14-hour days of work, so bear with me. But a singular format across all one-day tournaments after a calling in Silver Age, they have narrowed their focus to these 2 points. Classic Constructed and Silver Age as the 2 constructed formats. And this is reflected on the official webpage. This is the official webpage. Flesh and Blood now has 2 main formats. And then a bunch of other special formats that you can certainly play, but may not be supported to the degree, won't be supported to the degree that Classic Constructed and Silver Age are going to be. And then, of course, you chalk those 2 factors up to the fact that we're also getting a new set called Compendium of Rathe. If I hit learn more, maybe it'll display better. That is a return to the supplemental sets of old. My favorite sets from the past were supplemental sets. A return to this product, and not only just a return to it, but embracing some of the things they learned along the way with reprinting some of these cards, lowering the cost of entry into the bigger format, which is Classic Constructed, while simultaneously giving you a bunch of powerful commons and rares in this set that allow you to play the new Silver Age format. So you have a duality going on. You've got a cheap, easy to get into format, and then you've got a more premium, more front and center format in Classic Constructed. And you have this product that's going to hit the ground running and hopefully support both. This combined with the changes that they're going to be making to the organized play system, and I think there are more down the pipeline. I've heard rumblings that there will be more down the pipeline next year. I don't know. I just hear people say things like that, so I'll just pass that along to you. I don't know what, but more is most likely to be coming because LSS is a company that is always trying to level up, and I can respect that about them. But reprinting very key powerful cards and pushing these 2 new formats with a tweak to the organized play system has set them up to really make 2026 either this big, huge moment of growth, or if it somehow fails in some way, shape, or form, a stagnation. Now, how this goes about failing, I don't know. Maybe Compendium of Rathe gets super underprinted. No one can get their hands on the cards. People are clamoring over it. Prices go sky high or then plummet completely, and everything is just a mess. That's the only catastrophic thing that I can think of that would cause this type of product and this shift in focus to really come stumbling out of the gate, because LSS has delivered over the past 2 to 3 years on their promises at the organized play level. They've paid out. I mean, it's just proven. No one does the organized play system better than LSS, so it's not going to fail there. I don't see that happening. Maybe people are put off by reprints, but let's be honest, the people that are in this game are primarily players now, and they want to be able to get their hands on cards and play them. And I'll just tell you right now, I will simp a little bit. This Shelter from the Storm is hot, and I want that card, and I'm not mad that, there are other versions of this card that are really expensive if I can get my hands on that card. Yes, playable Fables have been an issue, but they're reprinting, I don't know if it's on the page, they're reprinting Fables. They're going to be reprinting Eye of Ophidia so that you can get your hands on it. Do I think that they're going to print a cold foiled Riches of Trapaldani? I hope so. I want them to, so that I can get that card and play with it. But I know that's going to put some people off, and maybe that's a negative. But at the end of the day, this is good for a lot of players. This is good for the growth of the game, for people to have access to some of these cards. It's good for the competitive scene because now you can pick up these cards and play more and engage more in these things. And then you combine all of those facts with the fact that there's going to be more callings, more opportunities for maybe that to be regionally applicable for you. You just show up to somewhere that's like right near you. And 2026 is looking like a very big year where Flesh and Blood can continue some of the growth that it saw in 2024, moving over to Japan, and hopefully throughout this year, pulling in new players as well. Of course, I don't have all the data, but watching the streams and keeping up with the community, it seems like there has been a good bit of growth this year. So I am saying right now, I believe that 2026 is going to be a make or break year for Flesh and Blood. It is abundantly clear, I'll just put it that way, that the changes that they're making, the shift in focus into just being more crystal clear, like this is the point we want to target. We are no longer going to, like have our tendrils spread out so much, or maybe they are, I don't know. But at least the announcements that they've made right now shows a shift in focus to these specific things. They are going to be all about Classic Constructed and all about Silver Age. And to their credit, I think it's the right choice because I've been playing both of these formats and I really enjoy Classic Constructed right now. I think it's in a good spot, and Silver Age as a season 0 right now is a blast to play. And the fact that you can get in for $20 and compete on the world stage in the world tour on a one-day tournament now called a showdown, that's a smart move. So let me know what you think about this in a comment below. Thank you for being patient with me as I had 3 out of 4 of the past days working 14-hour days as a teacher coming right after Worlds. I am tired and I'm going to go take a nap now. But if you like this sort of thing, make the number go to the other number, support me, and I appreciate your support. And as always, thanks for watching.